Hello everyone, this is Ankit Jain. I welcome you all to my channel Tech Journey with Ankit. Today is day 45 of our LWC Bootcamp series. In today's session, we will check how we can add the pick list field on the data table. This is one of the common requirement whenever we are building the data tables for the business where they want on the data table to have the drop down option. By default, we don't have such kind of standard data types available from the Salesforce. So here we have to implement our own custom data type and add that custom data type on the data table. Again, how to do that, we will see the step-by-step process today. Before we get started, a quick intro about me. My name is Ankit Jain. I do have more than 10 years of experience in the Salesforce ecosystem where I got an opportunity to work on the different clouds of the Salesforce, including the Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, CPQ, Billing, as well as on the Financial Services Cloud. Moreover, I do have my technical expertise on LWC as well as on the integration. In case you folks likes to connect with me, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, you can connect with me on the LinkedIn, and you can also join our Telegram group as well, where we discussed all the queries that we encounter during the implementation. You will get the links of all these channels in the video description. So let's get started with the today's topic. If you folks recall, in the part 1 of our data table series, we discussed about how to implement the custom data type, right? So today's session is nothing but a continuation what we have learned in the part 1 and what we have learned in the part 2. So whatever the data tables that we have implemented in the part 1 and whatever the data tables that we have implemented in the part 2, we will be using the same data tables in the part 3 as well. If you are directly coming to this video, make sure that you have already implemented those components before you go and continue for the part 3. Okay, now in this session what we have to do here is, as we have to add the picklist field, which is not the standard data type provided by the Salesforce, we have to go and create our own custom data type for the data table. I have already explained in detail what is custom type in the part 1 of the Lightning Data Table series. Again, in case you guys don't have any clue about it, make sure you are checking that out first before you come to this video. Now, what we have to do here is, if we have to enable the update functionality, because in the part 1 we have created the static data table, but now we are taking the one step forward and we are enabling the edit functionality for the custom type. So if we have to implement the edit functionality for the custom type, it's a three-step process that we have to do. First thing, on the custom type we have to go and create the edit template. What you have to do here is, on the custom type we have to go and create the edit template. Next thing here is, on the custom type only, in the JavaScript file we have to define the custom type definition where we have to add the edit template. In the step 2, on the custom we have, on the JavaScript file we have to define the custom type definition where we have to go and specify the edit template. And in the step 3 we have to mark that custom type editable in the column definition. We have to mark that custom type editable in the column definition. How to do that we will see with the implementation steps as well. So let me take you to the first step where we have to go and create an edit template. So what we have to do here is, in our custom type file we have to go and create the edit template. For example, here I am defining the edit template as lightning input, where user can go and enter the value. On the edit template there are two key things that you should know. First is the value. In the value you will use the property that is the edited value. In this edited value you will have the current value of the custom cell that user have selected. So you have to use the exact property name as the edited value. And what will have in this edited value? The current value, whatever the value that user is editing or modifying on that cell, that value will be stored in the edited value. Next thing that you have to do here is, here you have to go and specify the another property and define as true. That property name here is data input table, right? This property is required so that your data table can edit this particular input. So here you have to go and specify that data input table is equal to true. Again, I'm repeating, you have to go and create the edit template and you have to specify the value as well as the data input table is equal to true. This is the first step that you will be doing. In the second step, you are adding the edit template definition. So this is the JavaScript file that we have already created in the part 1. Now here we have already discussed these properties: template, standard, cell layout, as well as the type attributes in the part 1. In this you have to add one additional attribute as the edit template. So whatever the template that you have created here, you have to go and import that template and also specify that template here. So that is the step 2 that you have to do. You have to add the additional property here as edit template. Now in the step 3, what you have to do here is, on the column definition, you have to specify the editable as true. On the column definition, you have to go and specify editable as true. Okay, so this is what we steps that we have to follow if we have to add the pick list field on our data table. I hope you got the basic concept around it. Let me show you what you can expect by the end of the today's session. By the end of the today's session, you will have one pick list field available here. We will be introducing one pick list field on our data table, that is the lead source, where user can go and select the value. Right? For example, I am selecting the phone inquiry here. I am selecting the external referral here. Let me go and select this value as web. You can go and select the multiple values, and after that here you can go and save those changes as well. So this is what we have to implement today, where we will be adding this pick list field. As I said, there are 3 steps that we have to follow to implement it. This is what we have implemented in the part 2. Now I am adding here one more column for the lead source. So let's follow the notes what we have covered step by step, and we will go and implement it. For that, again I am navigating back to my editor. So this is the component that we have created on day 2. Now I am also opening the file custom data type that we have created on the day 1. This is the file that we have created on the day 1. Like we have the files here for the custom name, custom rank, as well as the custom image, right? All these are the HTML files that we have already defined. Now what I am doing here is I am creating here one more file, and let me name that file here. Again, first I am creating the static file. That is our requirement to define the custom type. I am not doing anything additional. Whatever we have learned in the part 1, I am simply repeating that step only. So here I go and add one file. Sorry, let me go and select this folder. In this folder I am adding one file, and I am naming that file as the custom uh, picklist html. Okay, custom picklist.html. In this file I am specifying one template, and in the template I go and specify, let's say, span class is equal to, I'm adding one slds class here as a truncate, and putting a title here. Whatever the title that you want to put, it's completely optional. Title is something in case you are hovering over it, you want to see that value. That's why I'm putting the title, or you can drop it as well. And here I'm specifying the value. So whatever the value that we do have, we are displaying that value in the slds. It should be truncate. My bad. Yeah, it should be slds. Let me check. Truncate. Okay, that's fine. It's nothing important, it's depreciated, I believe, but let it be. So this is how we go and create the HTML file. We have already covered this in the part 1. Next thing that we have covered in the part 1 is that we have to go and import that. So here I go and import that file. The file that I have created here is the custom picklist.html. So I am selecting that file and importing that file as well. Let me go and put the name here as the template. After that, the next thing that we have to do here is we have to go and create the custom data type for this. So here I go and create the custom data type. Let me name that data type here as the custom pick list. Okay, you can give any name, it's completely up to you. In the template you have to go and specify the custom pick list template. Okay, type attributes, whatever the type attributes that we want to pass, we can pass that type attributes here. I will come back to the type attributes later, but let's go and focus on the first step that we have to implement here is we have to go and create the edit template. Now here I go and create the edit template. So in the same folder I am creating one more type. and I am naming that type as the custom pick list edit. You can give any name, it's completely up to you. For my better identification, I am simply giving here the name as edit. Now in this file, again, you can go and specify the template. We have already covered in the previous session. Whenever we have to display any pick list field, we do use the component as the lightning combo box. So here I am using the lightning combo box. To this combo box, you can pass the uh, different field. For example, here if you want to pass the label, you can go and specify the label as lead source. But again, in our pick list, we can't show the label, right? Here if you check, there is no space to show the label for the pick list. So what we can do here is we can also hide the label as well by adding the variant attribute as label hidden. You will get all these attribute details from the component library. If you go and look for the component library and look for the lightning combo box, you will get all these variant details there. Okay, meanwhile it is loading, let me add few more properties. For example, I am putting here another property as the mm, as we have seen here, we have to specify the value here, which is nothing but a edited value. So here I go and specify the value is equal to whatever the value that user is editing. We have to make sure that we are using the exact same name here. Next thing that we have to specify here is the data input table. We have to specify as true. So here I go and put data hyphen input table is equal to true. So I am specifying this property as well, right? But for the lightning combo box, one more key thing that we have to specify, that is nothing but the drop down option, right? We have to let the Salesforce know what all drop down options that we are expecting here. So here you can see we have to specify this options attribute as well. Let's say I am putting here this options attribute and I'm getting these options from my data type. So here, whenever we have to accept any value from our extended component, we do use the type attributes property here. And in the type attributes, I am specifying the options. We have already covered that, right? So here, now I am navigating to my JavaScript file. The first property that I want to access here is the options. So here I am specifying the options. Next thing that we have to access, again in my pick list, I am accessing the value as well. So I need to access the value. So here I go and specify the value as well. We have to specify one more field here as the context, right? With the help of this field, whatever the records that you are modifying, that ID will be transferred. So you have to make sure that you are specifying here one more additional field as the context field, right? By specifying these three different fields, right? Now your type attributes are ready. So your step one is done. You have defined the editable value and also you have put the data input table as true. Now the next thing what we have to do here is whatever the edit template that we have created, we have to go and import that edit template. So what is the name of my edit template? This is the name. So here I go and import that edit template. So this is the component name and here I go and put the template, right? So this is the alias name that I have given to the template that I have imported. So this is also done. I have imported that. Now the next thing here is I have to add this special property, that is the edit template property. So here I go and specify the edit template, and in the edit template what I have to specify, the edit template that I have created. So this is the edit template that I have created. So I am specifying that edit template as well, right? I'm specifying that edit template as well, right? So now everything is good from my custom data side component. Now let me go and deploy this. Now the next thing that we have to do here is I should navigate back to my edit data table component, and in this component I have to perform the third step, that is nothing but I have to define one column and I have to go and mark that column value as true, right? Another thing that I have to go and define here is here I need to pass the pick list options. So to get the pick list options we have to use the again wire adapters, that is nothing but the get object as well as the get pick list value. So what I am doing here is, here I am defining another wire adapter first to get the object information, because to get the pick list value we have to pass the record type ID. So here I go and use the wire adapter, and I am using here the wire adapter as get object info, right? Sorry, get object info. As I am using it from the IntelliSense, it is automatically imported here. In case not, you have to make sure that you are importing this with the get object info. You have to pass uh, the object API name for which you want to get the object detail. So again, I am importing the object API name as well. In my scenario, I want to get the information about the contact object. So I am putting here the contact object from Salesforce slash schema slash contact. Okay, so for this object I want to get the detail. So here I go and specify the attribute, that is the object API name. And what is the object API name that I have to retrieve here is the contact object. Whatever the output that I am getting, I am storing that output in the object info property. I am storing that output in the object info property. So now I got the, sorry, I put that in somewhere in between. Let me take this out, and I am putting here after this wire adapter. So I got the object info. Now the next thing that what I have to do here is I have to get the pick list values. Again, to get the pick list value, I am using another wire adapter, that is the get pick list values. We have already covered these wire adapters in our bootcamp sessions, each and every one individually. Okay, now for this get pick list value, we have to pass two parameters. First thing that we have to pass here is the record type ID, and second thing that we have to pass here is the field API name. So here I am passing the record type ID, and after that I will be passing here with this get pick list values. We have to pass the two parameter. First parameter is the record type ID. In the record type ID, we have to specify the default record ID that we are getting from the object info. So here I go and pass that in the form of reactive parameter. Here I am putting the object info dot data dot default record type ID, right? That is the first parameter that I have to pass, and the second parameter that's supposed to pass here is the field API name. Whatever the field that you want to retrieve, you can pass that field API name here, and whatever the output that I am getting, I'll be storing that output into one of the function. So let me put here wire picklist. Again, this function is accepting the data comma error, and here again I am checking that if I am getting the data, then I'm putting the data, else if I am getting the error, then here I go and log the error, else if console.log error while loading data, and here I am putting that error. And here whatever the data that I am getting here, let me go and store that data into one of the properties. So here I go and put that this dot lead source options is equal to whatever the data that we are getting. So here I go and define this property, and also I have to import one property to pass to the field API name. So let me do this work here. So here I am defining the lead source option, initializing it with the blank, and also I am importing one of the field, that is the lead source field from the contact object. That is the field that I am getting up here. Right now here I am passing that field as well whenever I am getting the data. Where is that? Yeah, here, right? In the field API name, I am putting the lead source as I am getting the data from the lead source. Now the next thing what I have to do here is the data that I have received here, I have to load that data on the data table, correct? But again, on the data table, what we are doing here is we are loading the data from the uh, contact data, correct? Whatever the contact data that we do have, we are loading that data. So in this contact data, now I have to go and add the pick list options as well. Whatever the pick list options that we have received, we have to go and add that pick list options as well in this contact data property. So what I am doing here is, uh, here I am introducing, uh, or here I want my wire property to be invoked so that my output will be regenerated with the lead source option. So for that, here I am putting one hack to making this executed one more time. I am putting another property here. Again, you can use any property name, that's completely fine. And I want my wire method should be executed as soon as I do have the values available in the lead source option. So here I am making this property as the reactive. So as soon as the data is populated in this reactive property by getting the data from the wire decorator, again my function will be executed and I will be getting the refresh data, right? Now, what I have to do here is, whatever the pick list options that I am getting, I have to add that pick list options in this data as well. So I will start iterating over this data and add that options here. Again, to start iterating over that data, here I go and put the result dot data dot uh, map. To do the iteration, I am using the map here and accessing the current item at a time. And here, while accessing the current item, here I go and put the let. You can give any variable name. Here I am putting the let pick list options is equal to, for each record I want to populate the pick list options. So here I do have my pick list options available in which property, in lead source options property, right? In the lead source options property. So here I am passing that data. Now what I have to return here, I have to return the object along with the added property. So here I go and define the return statement. In the return statement, first I am returning the current data. So again, with the help of spread operator, I am returning the current data, and after that I am adding here the one property. You can, if you want, you can give the same property name or other property name, that actually doesn't matter. So whatever the property name, that variable that you have defined here, you can use the same variable name here, or you can use the different variable name here. This doesn't matter. Okay, now we do have the updated data available, and I am storing that updated data again into the this dot contacts data. One more time, I am storing this updated data in the this dot contacts data. So again, I am repeating whatever things I have done. First thing what I have done here is, I got the object information by using the get object info. After that, by using the get pick list values, here you have to make sure that this method is also imported. I got the pick list options here along with the, for the lead source, here I pass the default record type ID. So as soon as the record type ID is available, I will get the pick list options. Whatever the pick list options that I have received, I have stored that pick list options into this data variable. Okay, sorry, here I have to use the data dot values. That's one thing that I missed here. So make sure that you are using here not the data but the data dot values, because in the values property we do have these options. We have already covered these things in the past, how to check in which property we do have the options available. Now, the next thing that I am doing here is, I want to add these pick list options for each and every row, right? Because here I have to show these options for each and every row, right? To get this data added, what I am doing here is, I have to modify this contact data. But again, this contact data is populating only when the wire decorator is executing. So what I have done here is, here I have put one trick. I have defined one reactive property. So as soon as lead source option is populated, again this method will be invoked, and I'll be getting the contact data where I'm iterating over the data and populating one property, that is the pick list options property. Till here, I hope everything goes good, right? Now, the next thing that I have to do here is, I have to add one column here, right? This is the step now I am coming to, where we have to go and define the custom data type editable, right? So here I go and define one more column. So here I go and put the column name. Let me put the column name here as the uh, lead source. You can give any label, it's completely fine. The next thing that we have to define here is the field name, like we have done here. Here also I am doing the same thing. I am putting the field name here. In the field name, let's say my field name here is, I have to use the exact API name. So this is my field name as the lead source. Now the next thing that I have to define here as the type. So here I am defining the type. The type in my scenario here is email. Sorry, the type in my scenario here is the custom type that we have created on the JavaScript file. The custom type that I have created here is the custom pick list. So coming back here one more time, here I am defining the type as custom pick list. Next thing that I have to do here is I have to put the editable as true so that this column can be editable. Now the next thing that I have to do here is on my custom type, I have defined these three different type attributes, right? So I have to pass the value to all these three different type attributes one after the other. Here I go and put the type attributes, and in this type attributes, let's pass those values. So the first attribute that we have to pass here is the options. So here I go and specify the options. The options are available in the field API name. So here you have to use the field, sorry, not the field API name, field name. The options are available in the field name lead source options, right? So here I go and specify the lead source option, right? Now coming back to the second property, which is nothing but a value. The value is available in the field name, that is nothing but a lead source, because from the lead source we have to get the value. So here I am putting the lead source. Now the next thing that we have to specify here is the context, with the help of which the rows can be updated, and in the context I am passing the field API name as the ID. So let me put here the field name as ID, right? This is how you go and define the type attribute. So here you can see we are following the exact same thing: label, custom type, field name, editable, and we have defined the type attributes, whatever the data that we have to pass. Now, the next thing that we have to do here is, as we are using this custom type here, which is available on the custom data type. So I'm coming back to my HTML file here. In the HTML file, rather than I go and use here the lightning data table, I should use here the custom data type component. So here I am changing this to the hyphen custom data type. Whatever the name of the custom data type that you have created, in my scenario it is custom data type. So I am putting here the name as custom data type. Everything rest things will be the exactly same, because this custom type, it is extending the lightning data table only. So we do get all these features in our HTML component as well, whatever we are getting in the data table. Let's go and deploy this and check whether the functionality is coming up as expected or not. Let me go and refresh the page. Sorry, not this one, but this one, because this is where we have added the component now. This one was for the reference. I am refreshing the component. Here you can see that I do have the column available as the lead source, and I am getting the value for the lead source as well. Here there is no lead source, so let me check if I am getting the options here. Okay, somehow the options are not coming. That means something is going wrong. We have to check what is the issue with the options now. Folks, there was one miss from my side because of which it was failing. Here in the column definition under the option, I have used the field name as the lead source option. This is wrong. What I have done here is, if you check, here I have defined the property name as the pick list option. So this is the field that I have created where I am storing the option. So here, rather than I go and use the lead source option, I should use here the pick list options. Again, I am repeating, whatever the field that you are populating in the get contact output method, that is nothing but the pick list option, this field, right? In the return object, whatever the field that you have defined here, you have to use the that field name under the pick list options. If you go and make that change and then deploy it, and after that come back here and refresh the changes, you will see that the functionality will be working as expected. So let me quickly show you what we have built today. My page is loaded, so here you can see that now I do have this drop down options available here on my data table, from where I can go and select any pick list field, and I can go and update the multiple records as well. And here I go and click on save. Here I go and click on save. So whatever the values that I have selected, those values are coming up on my data table. If you also navigate to the record, you will see that for this record, the lead source is populated, the value that we have selected. Right? This is how you can add the pick list field on the data table. Before I close the session, let me put a quick revision whatever I have done as a summary. So first thing that I have done here is on my custom data type, I have created one static file in which I am only displaying the value. So this is the static file in which I am only displaying the value. Another thing that I have done here is created the HTML file in which I am displaying all the options by using the lightning combo box. In this edit file, there are two things that we have to take a note. First is the value attribute in which we are passing the edited value, and second is the options in which we are loading the options. Another thing that is mandatorily we have to specify here, that is the data inputable is equal to true. Right after that, we came back to the JavaScript file. In the JavaScript file, we have done the import operations of the static file as well as the edit file. Next to that, we have defined the custom type here as the custom pick list, and here again you can give any name. It is not mandatory that you have to give this name only. And here I go and put the template, that is nothing but my static template, and second one is the edit template in which I am taking the input from the user. After that, I have defined the standard cell attribute as true, and here whatever the values that I have to take from my past component or the extended component, I have defined those values in the type attribute. So I'm taking the three values here, options values as well as the context. Coming back to my third component or the original component, first thing what I am doing here is I am define getting the object information to get the default record type ID. Once we do have the object information, I am getting that pick list values here. As soon as the pick list values are available and this variable is populated, I have to again redesign my output data whatever I am showing on the data table, and for that I have defined here one more parameter. So as soon as this parameter value has been changed, again the wire decorator will be invoked and I will be getting the data. So here, what I am doing here is as soon as I do have the data available here, for each and every row, I am iterating over it and populating one option, that is the pick list options. Again, once that has been done, I have defined the columns here. In the column, I have specified the lead source as the label name, field name, that is nothing but the API name of the field, the type, whatever the type that I have defined here as the custom pick list. So this is the type. Next thing here, I mark this column editable as true so that we can edit the changes. And here under the type attribute, whatever the properties that we have defined here, option values as well as the context, I pass those values as the type attribute. Again, as we are using the custom type here on my HTML file, I have to make sure that I am using the custom component in which I am extending the data table. So here I am using that component as a custom data type, right? And the rest of the things are exactly same. And after that, we do have our functionality available with the data table. Trust me, folks, based on my experience, this is one of the most common requirement that we do have from the business where they wants to show the data table, right? So somehow or the other, in case you are making your data table with to edit the functionality, you have to go and add this pick list field, and this is the approach that you can follow to get that added. I hope folks you like the today's session helpful and got some learning from this session. In case you do have any queries, any questions, you can always let me know in the comment section. Thank you. Have a good time.